Yeah, so until yesterday, we went through different kinds of input modifiers, right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, today, we're gonna have few other modifiers. Naming. So the first one is formatted input. Okay. So mainly, why do we use formatted input? Because the informat always follows with the variable in the input statement. Okay. So if you see whenever I talk about informat, informats are something that which follows the column name in the input statement. I mean, or the variable name in the input statement. These are the informats. Because why do we call them informats? Because informats are something which are useful to read the data properly. Okay. So mainly informats are mainly defined. We mainly give them in order to define the data type and the field width of the particular and the field width of the data. Okay. So informat also reads data that are not stored in a non-standard form, like in terms of decimals or some kind of a special characters. Whenever we want to read some special characters or decimals, we use informats. Okay. Decimals in the sense, sometimes numbers have 19.5, 10 to 20.2 in that way. Special characters are something that if you have any kind of special characters, sometimes an input can't read those, so we use kind of an informat, so to read them in that way. Okay, so let's see. So what is formatted input? So formatted means in terms of formatted, the name itself it gives us informats. Okay, so whenever we use informats for a particular data, so it's called as a formatted input. So here we use normally, formatted input in this way. I mean, at the rate one, ID number, some format, the rate six. So at the rate one means the first column of the particular record, and sixth means the sixth place can be the the name starting from the sixth place, and 25 means name starting at the team starting at the 25th place, or the record starting at the 25th place, 32nd place, 36th place. Okay, let's run this. The same way which we discussed on the on yesterday on different other modifiers and named input and all. So this one is something called formatted input where we use informats and this at the rate at the rate position number for a particular column. Clear, ma'am, on this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is column list input. We went to list input. Remember column input, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And next one is named input. So name input is something that whenever we specify, um, equal to symbol or equal to sign followed equal to sign of pose the variable. Okay, so it becomes a named input. So why do you use equal to sign? So sometimes what happens is in the in the input data itself can be a raw can be a raw data or the or the data lines. So what happens is we get data in terms of variable name equal to the record name in this way. Okay. So whenever you use named input, so named input should always match the variable name here in the input records. And so whatever we have the column name in the input, I mean the name in the input records before the equal to sign. So the same name should be here in the input statement also.
Okay.
Otherwise it won't read the data properly. Okay. For instance, if you see here we have ID equal name equal team, start with and end weight, start and end weight. If I simply run this, I get the data correctly because I used ID equal to name, name equal to so and so, team equal to so and so, and start weight and end weight. Okay. Yeah. So even if the data is jumbled or shuffled, okay, let's see what happens. You see, we still got the data. That's because that's only because we are mentioning specifically the named input. Okay, what are the names? What are the names present in the record following the equal to symbol or equal to sign? So the same name we are using in the input statement. So whenever, so wherever it may be, the data, it simply fetch the data and puts into the variable position. Okay, if the ID is equal to one, is if the ID equal to position is first one, it it just searches wherever the ID we have. For instance, we have ID here, we have ID here, and ID at the last, right? So it simply searches for the ID equal to and then fetch the data to the first position of the input statement, which is the ID equal to. The same thing, replicates to the rest of the variable names. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when to use, when to use named input. So named input reads the input data record that contains the variable name followed by the equal sign, and the value of the variable. So whenever you have in the total records, whenever you have variable name followed by equal sign with the value of the variable, only then we use named input. Okay, and sometimes there may be some kind of there may be some cons or drawbacks in the named input. Okay. Sometimes what happens is not all variables will have the the variable name equal to the value. Okay. Sometimes it may end up only have only sometimes it may only have the values like this one, the ID. Okay. So what happens here is whenever you see a data starting, data lines or the raw data from the external file, starting with just a value without the variable name equal to variable name followed by equal to sign. So that that kind of condition does not follow the named input. Okay. So on the in that case, we need to just have input. No, we need to change the input styling. Okay. So if you see, I can simply mention ID equal to. Okay. We don't have ID equal to here. If I mention ID equal to, even then it's first one, it can't read the data because it can't get the data ID equal to, right, in the records, in the number of records. So in that case, you have to change the style to just ID. You get the data. Right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Sorry, ma'am, clear on this?
Yeah. So we should not give the equal to sign, then we can get the output.
Yeah. So what happens here is whenever we have the data, but the first line of the data doesn't have the the input name, sorry, the column name and equal to some sign. So that does not follow the named input. Okay. That does not follow the
Mm.
constraints of named input. So at that time, we need to change the style of no we need to change the style of reading the data. Okay. If you see this example, so the first record, the start of the record is just a value without the variable name and the equal to sign. Okay. Even here, the red, yellow, even team doesn't have value. Team equal to value. Okay. Now let's see what happens. So it can't read the team. Okay. So whenever we have a data, so thing is, whenever we have data at the start without the particular variable name and the equal sign, the rest of the data, if they have or not, so it, I mean, if the res- you know I mean, the rest of the data, if they don't have equal to sign, even we provide just the team with, with the modifier, with the, if we format as $6 dot, it can't read the data here. Okay. So in that case, we need to change the style of the input, which means, we need to have something more efficient way, which is the positioning.
Okay.
Okay. So in this way, we get the data. Yeah.
So in this case, we are using both named and column input also. No?
Yeah. It depends. Uh, it depends on how do we write the data. Yeah, how do we get the data?
Okay.
It's a simple way of playing around the data, playing around the different options, trying different options. Yeah, got it, ma'am. Any
Yeah.
questions here?
No.
Formatted input, named input. Okay. Yeah, and now you see, uh, so using this named input, it'll be easy for us to read data with embedded blanks. Okay. For instance, if you see here for age, I have 60 and up. Okay. As it is. So we haven't, sorry, ma'am. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. You see, previously, we haven't get the data, but now we got the data 60 and up. You see, we have data we have, blanks in the data, right? With the help of named input, we can, it'll be easy for us to read the data correctly. Yeah, right, ma'am? Clear?
Okay.
Yeah. So remember yesterday, we discussed about null input. Not physical null input. So I asked you a question. How do we get this data? So without mentioning the variable names in the input statement. Any idea on that, ma'am? Remember that? Hello?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah. Yesterday, if you remember, we discussed on the what happens when we don't have input. We have the input statement blank. Remember, ma'am?
I think I forgot.
Okay. Shawnee, ma'am, you any idea on that?
No.
So just tell me now. So what
Oh
happens?
yeah, it will not. Sorry, it will not read because when there is like zero observe no when it will
No
enter into
column
the
names.
zero observation.
No zero observation, ma'am.
Sorry,
Yes.
zero variable,
Yeah, zero variable
Will-
and
zero variable and one observation.
okay.
In
Eg-
log, it will be displayed. No?
It will not
e-
be, yeah, because it will enter into that and then it has nothing to read.
Yeah. How about the final data set, ma'am?
It will be empty.
Okay. Yeah. So it will be empty because a data set should always have variable name to define it. Okay. As we don't know, don't have the variable names, so eventually the final data set will be empty. Right, ma'am?
Yeah.
So that's something called null input. That's something called null input.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, if you observe carefully, Uh, so yeah, second. I just yeah. You see here in the above program, when the input statement executes, one record at a time is storing into the input buffer. Okay. Then PDB picks up the data from the input buffer and assigns to the corresponding variables. As the as we don't have the variables, it can't create a data set.
Yeah.
Right? No? Yeah. So precisely, if I remove this input statement, I'll mention this the in file data lines. Okay. Now tell me what happens. So if you see previously, we got 6 observations. That's because we used input statement. Okay. And now we aren't using the input statement. We are simply mentioning in file data lines. Now tell me what happens.
Now it reads the data and we get the
Yeah.
output.
Is it?
Infile is used to read the data lines also.
Okay. So where are the input variables to assign these data? Do we
Okay.
have it?
No.
No.
Then what happens?
Then
If I confuse you, don't get confused, ma'am. Okay. Yeah. This
It will
happens.
the same happens.
same will happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because no in
Yeah. I mean the same
No
happens,
variables.
but the only change is here we get 1 observation. In the previous one, we got 6 observations. Did you observe that, ma'am?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
6
Yeah.
observation.
Right. Because we specifically used input because uh SAS thinks that okay, we have the input command. Okay, let's read the data. So once it finishes reading the data or or fetching the data into the PDV, after that it has to assign these data lines to the particular variable names. But it sees that there is no variable names. So simply it ends the process with the 6 variables. Sorry, 6 observations.
6
But here what
observation.
happens is when the first observation goes into picture, it finds out no there is no input statement over there.
Yeah, okay. It
Yeah,
stops.
stops reading at the first
Okay.
statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So whether we use like input or in file data lines, the result will be like
null. It's still be null.
null.
But the only thing is uh how we are interpreting it. That's no that makes the difference. Okay, so
With the number of observations.
exactly. So the interpretation in terms of using just input or just infile data lines or just input without the variables, how does it matter in terms of backend process? Okay,
Yeah.
once you're clear with that, it will be easy for you to just get the data correctly, write the code correctly. I mean in terms of more efficiently. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The next one is mixed input. Yeah. So it is something that when we mix all the when we mix all the input styling till now we learned, okay, in terms of data part, uh in terms of formatted inputs, column inputs, named input. So by mixing all of them to get the data correctly, so that's called simple mixed input. Okay, so we can use input city. Here I have used name input with the column input styling, formatted input, sorry, formatted input. Okay, here formatted input, column input. Depends on how we read the data. Okay,
Mhm.
so I use ID here, name, team, trade weights, start and end weights. Let's read this. Yeah.
Gets read properly.
Yeah. So whenever we use something in terms of data, I mean, in terms of inputs, mixing all together, so it's called mixed input. Ma'am, just give me a moment. I'll be back. Just give me a moment. Yes, ma'am. Sorry for the wait. Yeah. So, yeah. The next thing is, so we have two more input specifications. One is single trailing, other one is double trailing. So trailing, single trailing, it has a sign called at the rate.
Okay.
So normally what happens here is, in terms of single trailing, what it does means, whenever we pass some kind of condition into the, into the data lines, okay. So what does it do? It just, holds on to data, you know, for the execution. Once it has a specific condition to be, to resolve, only then it'll go into the next input record. Okay. So what kind of what kind of conditions does it hold on? Let's go into that. So trailing is always something that it will be at the last, it will be at the last item of a particular input statement. Okay. We see here. So it's at the last item of the input statement. Yeah. So namely what's happening here is, if you see here, we have team equal to red. Okay. So what happens here is, first, it sees the first, it reads the first input record. Okay. It checks whether it is team equal red or not. Only then it goes to the next statement. Okay, next input record. So in this way, we reduce the execution time. Okay, So, why do we reduce the, execution time? That's because instead of reading, instead of reading each and every, instead of going into each and every record, so what happens here is we simply use if condition. Okay, so what happens is if condition checks on the first record, okay, and then publishes and then publishes this record into the into the output statement, so, into the output data set. Okay, and again, so what happens with if condition is, and like what happens, it goes for the first, it's every time it starts the iteration from the first. Okay, from the first, and then puts the all the condition met records into the output statement. On contrary, so this trailing, what does it do? It makes if condition to read the data, hold on it first. If it comes true, with the condition, it sends the record to the output statement, output data set, or else it just it just moves to the next record in terms of the iteration. I mean, iteration in the same data set. Got it, ma'am? Any confusion
So
here?
this, yeah, a little bit confusing. Can you?
Okay, okay. So what happens in terms of single trailing is single. So this is called single trailing.
Okay.
Yeah. So trailing is something that, if you see here, holds an input record for the execution of the next input statement within the same iteration of the data step. Okay. So this line hold specifier is called single trailing. So what does it do means holds on to the input record and for the execution. Okay. So it holds on to the input record for the execution of the of the next input statement within the same iteration. So it holds on to the first, I mean, the input record until until it gets a condition satisfied, which is yes or no. Okay. So if so for instance here, if the team is red, okay, it is yes. If it isn't, it is no. Okay. So it holds on to that record until it sees it's a red team or a yellow team. If it's a red team, what happens is it sends this record to the output data set. Okay, or if it is a yellow team, it simply ignores this record and jumps to the next record. Unlike
Mm-hmm.
if condition, so if condition is something that once it sees this record is red, so this record eventually goes in the output data set. Okay, so what happens in terms of if condition is, uh, for example, it read this at line 457, okay, and this particular record got qualified. It goes to the output record. So in order to read this 458, so if condition, it just don't goes to the next iteration simply. So it again goes to the first iteration, first record, sees if it is red or yellow, and again, it goes to the second record, sees if it is yellow or red, then third, then fourth, then fifth, then it comes to sixth. Okay. Then
Mm-hmm.
again, before coming into the seventh record, the last record, it checks from start. No, it just iterates from start, checking the first record, second, third, and fourth and fifth, sixth, and then seventh. So that's what happens in terms of if condition. So if condition to check up, so in no, and we use an if condition to check our records, no, to check our records eligibility for the condition or not. So in terms of if condition, it goes on it iterates on the entire data set again and again. Okay, no, again and again to check the condition, which are the data points have met. Right, ma'am? Any confusion here?
Uh, okay, if condition checks from the starting, but if we use this one, it doesn't check.
Yeah.
It
So what?
direct simply.
Exactly. So if you use this particular thing, so what happens is, this trailing has a special ability, to hold on to the input record for the execution. Okay. So once the execution,
Okay.
if you see here in the above program, when it's reading the data, it holds on to the team value and it checks condition. If the condition is true, it picks the observation. Otherwise, it goes to the next record. Again, in the next record also the same works. Unlike if condition, even if the even if the next condition, sorry, even if the uh, next statement, I mean, no next value or the no or the next record is uh, I mean, it is or it isn't met the condition, but it still goes to the first record and goes to second and third and fourth and fifth until it meets the all the conditions true.
Okay.
Okay. But in terms of trailing, what does it do? Once it met the first condition, okay, it won't check the first condition again. Sorry. Once it met the first record, say, the first record is true, it won't check the first record. It goes to the next record. If the next record is false, and again, it goes to the next record. If the if the next record is true, it goes to the next record. So in that way, it iterates onto the records in the same data set. Okay. But if
Okay.
condition, what does it do? So once this condition is true, it just it just don't go it just don't jump into the this third line simply. It again start from the first, checking the first, then second, then third. For the fourth, it again goes to the first, checking the first, second, third, and then fourth. For a fifth, it again goes to the first, second, third, and fourth and fifth in that way. So this is something that if you run this program, so it executed it get executed in a fraction of seconds. Okay, I mean it simply says that CPU time has got 0.00 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's a small data set. But in terms of a large data sets, what happens is if condition can be a burdening to the data in terms of the server issue, in terms of the server and in terms of the data set time. Okay, the time of execution. Okay, in order to avoid that, we use this trailing. Right, ma'am?
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sean, ma'am, clear on this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So next one is double trailing. Yeah. So double trailing. So even it does the same. I mean, same in terms of holding the record, but it has a different operation. So whenever we have records in this way, a continuous records without any stoppage, without any new line to be formed. Continuous records, no line. But we only have three variables: zone, temperature in Celsius, temperature in Fahrenheit. Again, zone temperatures in that way. But the records are not are not specified in number of lines, but they're only specified in single line without any. I mean, no, with just the blanks. So, namingly, if you don't use the double trailing, so what happens here? Okay, it can only read the first three records, right? The next will be ignored because
Okay.
it sees only zone, temperature as this one, fan heat as this one. Because as the input has only three input variables, so it can only read three input records. Sorry, three input values, right? I mean, as per the previous knowledge, right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in order to this to read the next one, it should go to the bottom. Again, this one to bottom. Again, this one to bottom. And so in this way, we get the data correctly. But what happens if we have the data in a straight way? I mean, in a single line without any interruption. So at that time, only we use double trailing. Double trailing will just separate. So what does it do? It separates the first three, next three, and next three. It just tells us that the first three comes under the first row of record. The next three comes under the second row of record, and so on. That's what double trailing do. Right, ma'am?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, if you see here, we have data clumsy. Okay, Delhi, and again temperature, Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune.
Yeah.
There is no alignment here. Nothing. Just a straight away data. Okay. So if you use single double trailing, on double trailing should, no, should always be at the end of the input statement. Once we
Okay.
use this double trailing, it simply makes sure that so we have multiple data lines, okay, which are no, which are not aligned. It tells us that okay, you have three input columns or variables. Just make sure to read the first three, next three. Make sure to break the data in a three, in three multiples, like first three and next three and next three and so on. Right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Here we may have some kind of a data truncation. That's because we only got, I mean, we haven't mentioned any kind of a uh,
That-
width here, informant width. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions, ma'am, until now?
That's clear, Ajay.
Okay. So this is the end of the input statements, ma'am. I mean, the input statement, whatever we have used in terms of input modifiers or input options. So are all these, and we have a few more in this handout. Just go to the handout. Okay. Yeah. Just go through it, ma'am. Go to the handout. If you have any questions, we can discuss in the next session. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And the next one is yeah. Next one is data lines. This simple. This is a bit straightforward. Okay. So thing is, whenever you have data lines or card statement, I mean, eventually both are same. So eventually both indicate data lines part. Yeah. So this is simple data lines. So data lines will all will be the so always remember data line statement is the end of the data step. Okay. Only after that we can provide we can give out the variable names. Sorry, data. I mean the data values or records. Okay.
Okay.
Data lines is always the end of the data statement. Yeah. So here we have cards and data lines four or data lines data lines four data lines or cards four. So it means whenever we have data in this way, okay, uh, we have data. Sorry, my bad. I'll just copy this. Yeah. So whenever we have data, uh, normally, we don't have semicolon at the end of each and every data line, right? We only
Yeah.
have semicolon at the end of the line, at the end of all the data lines. But here we have mentioned at the end of all the data lines. But in order to read this data, for example, for instance, if I don't mention this, okay, if you see here, just mention this, it doesn't work. So you have to mention, if you see here, what happened previously. See, previously we have four
What?
semicolons, and the
Yeah.
rest, no, the rest of the data points, I mean the statements colors were retained. But
Yeah.
if I remove these, it just went out blank. That's because whenever you have whenever you have data lines end with this semicolon, you should have four semicolons at the end of the data lines. Okay,
Okay.
even three doesn't. It's four, and use data lines four. Only then you can read data lines with ending semicolons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is like with the data has the semicolons, we use this.
Exactly. Exactly. Only, I
Okay.
mean, mostly we don't use it. I mean,
Mm.
I guess, I mean, strictly speaking, I never used it. Just, yeah, just to know, that's it.
Yeah.
And here, next one is, it is something interesting. I just want you to answer. So we have two input statements. Okay. Two input statements, both with same identical column names or the variable names, but a little different in terms of the input modifiers. Okay. So tell me, how does this, I mean, how is the data read into the output data set? Will we get all the column, all the data points, I mean, all the data lines into into the output data set, or do we have, any truncation in the data? What happens?
In the WBC, we will see the difference
Okay. Why is it, ma'am?
because in the first input we mentioned the um, 30 to 32,
Okay. Okay.
and then I forgot the dot is the input statement. Um,
Which dot, ma'am?
Three dot.
No, period is simple. It's simple width, right?
Oh,
It's
okay,
simple
okay.
width. I'm giving. No, I'm giving it to the WBC. So, I mean, I assume both to be same. I mean, not sure. I mean, if you have a different answer, that's okay. That's okay.
I think they will. It should read the data correctly, actually, because
Okay.
you are giving 30 to 32 width, and
Okay.
then here also you're giving the 3. So,
Okay.
like WBC has 3 digits in there.
Okay. So, what happens in terms of if I use both inputs, two inputs? What happens to data? How the data will be read into the input buffer or PDB and PDB?
It will first take the first input variables, the column names.
Okay. You mean the first one?
Yeah,
How about the second one, ma'am? Don't the no? Don't the second one get the chance to read the data?
actually, I'm thinking, yeah.
Okay.
I think we get the output two times.
Two times.
Then we are giving two times the input.
Okay. Previously, we dealt with multiple input statements, right?
Yeah, multiple lines. If the
Right.
data is
Yeah,
in
the
multiple
data is read
lines,
once. Yeah. The data
Okay.
will be
So
read.
how about the data read? Was it
The
read
output
when?
will be 1 for sure
Okay.
if we have like multiple inputs also.
Hmm. Just think, ma'am, what happens? No, just go line by line. So see what happens. First thing is, I send this. First thing is, I read this data. Okay.
It will like the WBC will be aligned to the at the place 30 to 32,
Okay.
and then it will when come to second input, then you already gave like WBC 3 dot, so it will read the 3 digits of that.
But I say assume both are same, right? 30,
yes.
Yeah,
31, 32. Three digits. If
yeah,
here it is 30, 31, 32. Three digits.
yeah. I think the data will be read correctly actually.
Okay, so if you think okay. So let's think the data will be read correctly. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's assume on in that way. So first thing
Okay.
is, so what happens first thing? The input the first line goes into the input buffer and the and the PDB, and this gets assigned to the first observation. Sorry, first input line. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the next line also we have this input. But here the condition is, what happens here is we have the same input statement. I mean, no, the same variable names. Okay, the same variable names. Uh, it reads the second one. Okay, and again
Mm.
it goes to the third one, and again fourth, and again fifth.
Mhm.
Okay, so what happens here is, first first this reads, and again the second one get read. So as this
Mhm.
being a same input, the same column name, the second
Yeah.
one gets replaced with the first one. Sorry, the first one gets replaced with the second one,
Mhm.
Oh,
That's
because
because the both are the inputs are same. So
exactly both have same inputs, because it can't make a differentiation between the input names.
the
Okay,
output will be correct
only the
then.
last one then.
no, if you see, we have two inputs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one gets uh the no the second one gets into the first one. I'll print for you. Okay, you see here 1049 and 1246.
Um,
The second one goes into, no, the first one gets replaced with the second one. Yeah. Then again, it reads the third one. Again, this reads the fourth one as sorry, both being the same input column names. This gets replaced with the this one. Okay. And fifth one will be read. Okay, it will be read, but we do know, but we don't have the sixth observation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't
Okay.
know what to do. So it simply throws a error in terms of logical error in this way. Okay,
Wow.
logical error in this way. So what does it do? It tells us 1078, which is the third one, I guess. Yeah, this is the last one. Yeah, I mean in terms of data, it is third one, because second gets replaced with the first, and fourth gets replaced with the second. I mean the third. So eventually what it sees, it has three observations, in which the last one is, the last one is to be a underscore n equal to 3. Got this one, ma'am?
okay.
I still see confusion. Okay, so let's your point. Okay, I'll just do what I'll do. I'll add another one. Okay, bring it to some kind of file. You see here, we got only one record. If you observe carefully in the previous, while we use multiple input lines, so what happened here, ma'am? So first ID and name, it read the ID and name, which is the first input line. Second line, it read the second line. Third line, it read the third line. And again, first line, second line, third line, again first, second, third, first, second, third. Right?
Right.
What happened? It didn't, so no data, there is no overlap in the data,
Right.
because we have different column names. If we have different column names, we see here we have
Oh,
different
okay.
different
Okay.
column
There,
names.
like, yeah, there we are overlapping, so it gets
Yeah. So here so why is the overlapping? That's because we have same column names for
yeah.
multiple different data.
Mm,
Okay. So in terms of that, I mean, SAS doesn't know what happens to this data. I mean, my point is, the first thing is, the first input, it reads the first one. The second input, it reads the second one. Third, it reads the third one. So here what happens is, first it reads the first one. Okay. Second line is read with the second input statement. But being the same inputs, okay, being the same input, say same column names, so it doesn't know what to do. So it simply replaces the first column. I mean, no,
Yeah,
the first record. Because if you see,
I got it. The input, if we are using input in multiple lines,
mm,
then the data should be also in the multiple, then only it will read it correctly. But if the data is aligned, then input should be in like one line only.
no, ma'am, you're not getting it. Okay, let me explain it. Okay, yeah. I mean, previously you saw, we have input and no, we have
Multiple lines, yeah.
multiple lines, right? We have in multiple lines. There's no just
But the
as
data was also in multiple lines, right?
yeah, even this this input is also
No, no,
in
I got it. I
multiple
mean the
lines,
data
right?
like that because the input was different. Like the first line, if it had ID and name, and
Exactly.
then yeah,
Yeah,
so it
that's the whole
should
point.
be
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
If the
here,
names are same, then
same,
sorry, the column names are same,
same. Yeah,
then it will get confused, and then it will read it accordingly, and then
yeah.
just overlaps it, right?
Exactly. So what happens here is, it reads the first one, and again
Yeah,
as as it has the same input columns,
yeah.
you know, as it has the same input columns, what does it? Sorry, ma'am. Yeah. As there are some same input columns, so this one, so where does this, the second record go? Yes, right? So, no, it doesn't have any other different columns, right? So it simply, replaces the first one in the output data set. Sorry. The only thing is, why is it replacing? Because it has the same input column name. That's it. There is no, there is there is nothing else in it. Right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the input name, no, because the input columns are, have the same names. So uh, this one to be in the output data set, it doesn't have any other different column names. Okay, it simply replaces the first one, the above data. That's it. For instance, if you have a different name, take it as some in, let's say name, say X, I would say RBC, I would say C. Okay. We have a yeah, just a second. Okay. Yeah.
Is it the numbers we have given the same? Maybe we have to.
Sorry, ma'am, I didn't get you. 1023 1219. A second. Yeah. So what happened is it missed out the second one. So why did it missed out this? Oh, so is it no? 2 4. Okay. So let me see.
Read like first line and then the third one.
Sorry, ma'am. Yes. Second. No. Thing is, yeah. So we got the data here.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's fine, right? Yeah. See, we have the data here. Got it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. So previously, what happened? We don't, we didn't have the proper data. proper data, because we only have 5 lines. Ideally, it should be, it should have a even number of data lines, right? Either 2 or 4 or 6, something. But we have only 4 lines, sorry, 5 lines. Run this
Mhm.
part. We see it doesn't know what, for the last record, it don't know where to go. Even we got 1023 12 19. We got here 1049 12 46. How about the fifth one? So because as we have two input statements, it should it should allocate two different input lines. Okay, two different data lines, but we only have one data line. As I don't know where to go, it simply goes into error.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So as we provide multiple inputs, based on that, it should have multiple data lines.
Yeah, got it. It read like the first one read.
Yeah. The second one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, any questions on this?
So this last one we can see in log, this
Yeah.
1078.
Yes. Sorry. Thing is, what happened here is, uh, if you see what happened here is, this ID, this last one, it went into the input buffer. Okay. And again, this one,
Okay.
this one too, it went into the input buffer. But as there is no data, this couldn't join, because data
Yeah.
in terms of data set, it cannot have 3 lines here and 2 lines here, right, ma'am?
Right.
So
Okay.
until WBC, fun of MC, from ID to WBC, it cannot have 3 lines here, and from IN to WBCC, it cannot have 2 lines here, right? So everything goes on in a parallel way. Getting it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my point is, it should not be, one with 3 lines and, other with 2 lines. That is not acceptable in terms of SAS dataset, right? I mean, there's a missing of alignment. Okay. So, whenever it sees, it should be straight. Okay. It should be straight. I mean, until WBC, it should not have 3 lines. And again, from WBCC, it cannot have 2 lines. So, the entire row should be a single row.
Yeah.
Okay. So as there is no data, it cannot point out in terms of missing values. Okay. It simply throws error as because it's a logical error, which is a data error. Right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Any questions
Yeah.
here? I mean, you can say that,
Uh,
it should still can take the data with this one, and the next column says empty, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So what happens
it
is,
can.
yeah. So what happens here is, as we don't have the data properly structured, and so that's the reason it can't read the data. So eventually it throws error as a logical error.
Yeah.
Yeah, which means the data error. Right, ma'am?
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions until now?
It's clear, Rajiv. If you can the equal to sign the name input.
Hmm.
I have a question that in named input, the data should have also the equal to sign, right?
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
named input.
Okay.
Thing is, whenever
Okay.
the data misses the first one, I mean the starting of the record with with the equal to and the column name. Okay, so we should
Mm-hmm.
change we should change the style of input, input to read the data.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we cannot continue again this named input for rest. If you see here, for team, we do we just have the value, but not team equal to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
as this being a first one, it can read it. Being a
Oh,
first one, as it being a first value, eventually it can read it. But team, it is after many values, it has to assess and it has many spaces here. It cannot read it properly.
Okay.
Yeah. So in that case, we need to change the style of input data reading. So where
Mm-hmm.
we give where we have given a column input.
Yeah, that was only the question.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking you didn't give the equal to sign in the ID number.
Yeah, that's what. Whenever we have whenever a data record starts with just a value,
Mm-hmm.
okay, named input style should be changed.
Okay.
Reading, yeah, yeah. So it just can't read. Even if you give ID equal to, it can't read. So we have
Okay.
to change some other ID, just ID with length or just ID with some column input in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a question in
Yes, ma'am.
single trailing.
Okay.
Once can you show that single trailing?
Yes, ma'am. This one.
So here, this program we can do with if condition also, no? If
No, no. Single
no,
railing some.
I understood the concept,
Okay.
but if we use, if it takes more memory or some disadvantages are there like that, you have said now.
Yeah, more memory in terms of execution time and memory space. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we use if also we get the same output.
Yeah.
So if we do the program, any program,
Mm-hmm.
by using two different options or two different statements like here single trailing or if loop, we can use if loop also here. So how we can say by seeing the log which one we have to select? Like I'm asking the generic question.
Okay. So my point is, this being a small data set, we cannot just assume that
Yeah,
we
but
can
in
save
real
in
time
time. Large
we
data
have more
sets.
data.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have more data. We have in terms of, specifically single trailing. It only works on input statement, ma'am. Okay.
yeah.
We use if condition in terms of just simple data statement. So data step like
Okay.
data set and then if conditions. So at that time, we cannot use this single trailing. So whenever you want to read data in terms of external file or this data lines, we use single trailing.
That thing I understood, but
Yeah.
in general, if we
Mm.
use like a where option or a select statement, so to compare two options, so with by seeing the log, how what we have to see in the log, like
Okay. So
memory.
yeah, specifically in log,
Once can you run this?
yeah, I'll
Okay.
just show you. Yeah, specifically, you have to
Oh,
always see this user CPU time, system CPU
uh,
time.
time is always like for any program, it is 0.01
No,
seconds.
no, no, no. You will find,
Because here it is very
small data
small
sets
data.
exactly, but
That's it.
sometimes it may go to. We even face hours,
In real
hours,
time.
yeah, how hours in running data, hours in
Mm.
running huge data sets. 1 hour, two
Okay.
hour, 3 hours, 45 minutes, 650 minutes. Okay, in that way.
Mm.
Okay.
So by seeing the time, we have to decide what to use. Yes.
So thing is, you just can't wait for 4 hours and then tell which one to use, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So before that, you need to assume, you need to think which one is the best option. Not
Huh.
Yeah.
just, not just
That
by seeing
how
the
to select.
time. It comes
Yeah.
on, it comes on practice, ma'am. That's the only thing.
Like if we
Okay.
have a data with the if statement, so and the data
So,
is
it's
huge,
always,
then
yeah, yeah.
use a single trail, so it comes to our mind.
Here in this point, we can say easily like better than if we can use single trailing in this
No,
only
no, single
particular
trailing,
case.
it should come with if condition in combination.
If condition, yeah,
Okay.
combination.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Single
That's
So
what I'm
we,
trailing.
saying. If yeah, if we have a like if statement, then comes to our mind automatically that let's use single trail.
yeah, so my
Save.
point is, when we, when, so when you can judge the execution time is,
Yeah.
happens when you know what happens in the backend. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what happens at the PDV, what happens at the input buffer, what happens at the descriptive information, and what happens at the compiling stage and the execution stage. Okay.
Yeah.
So which option or which statement works at the execution stage
Uh-huh.
and the compiling stage? Okay. Which
Yeah.
option or statement flows first at the execution stage and last at the execution stage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a difference between where and if statements, ma'am. Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
So it depends on what type of condition you have. Okay.
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 So yeah, some say, I mean, we normally say where is faster than if. Okay. But it
Okay.
depends on the conditions. So wonder what type of condition you have to use. This only comes, when you practice on different statements and options.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the more important thing is you have to know what sorry, what happens in the back end whenever
Hmm.
whenever you use some kind of statements or options.
Yeah.
Only then you can judge before the data, before we run a particular, before we execute a particular data step.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am? Because once
Mm.
you run this data step and you wait for 1 hour, and in the meantime, you got another idea to just implement this, it's simply a waste of time, right? I
Yeah.
mean, on the contrary, it happens. There isn't there isn't any programmer who is perfectly, who does programming perfectly. It only comes on practice, right? Yeah. So my
Yeah.
point is, you have to be more conscious in terms of what happens in the back end. So once you have the gist of it, or the hold of it, only then you can understand which option or statement to use at which point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions now?
No, Rajiv, thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Okay. Then we no, then we just stop the session for now.